The refugee crisis, the huge numbers of people coming, particularly from North Africa, across into Europe is now being signalled by the BBC. Nick Robinson has done a piece about it. He's talking about the threat to Italy, Germany, the new Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, who was there to, quote, stop the boats. This stopping the boats slogan, it's not just a slogan used by Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak, of course, relies on the most absurd solution, which is to send people to Rwanda and take Rwandan refugees instead. So not reducing the number of migrants in this country, but keeping it exactly the same, just making sure they come from somewhere different. That borders on an absurdity, and at the same time creating or planning to create concentration camps to hold them in detention, because keeping them in hotels is proving to be costly. Keeping them in hotels because we've had an idea of a hostile environment to go slow. That's supposed to be a deterrent. That deterrent didn't work. Now we've got another deterrent, which is called Rwanda. That won't work either, because deterrents don't work. What will work, and the only thing that will work, is an international agreement. And given the fact that many countries across Europe are experiencing this problem, Bay is having a little bit of a wriggle moment. Bay, of course, is also, I suspect, an immigrant. Because this is a problem affecting most of Europe would be interested in a solution. At least a European-wide conference would be a step in the right direction. Going this alone, whether you are Italy, whether you are Britain, whether you are Germany, whether you are Turkey or Greece, is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for the multiplicity of stories about deaths created by your policies. It's a recipe for overcrowding on the beaches, for not knowing what to do with people who arrive on our shores, and at the same time for recognizing that there is a need for immigration. There is a need to fill the gaps in our society, and not just a need for more talented doctors and more talented engineers and architects and people with great qualifications and a university degree. Actually, we need people to drive buses, trains. We need people to do the sort of jobs that we don't have enough staff in the UK to do. People to pick fruit. People who can come to our shores, who can be grateful that we have taken them in, and who will return the compliment by doing the jobs that actually we don't want to do, but are so necessary. When I was younger, I was only too happy to work in a factory. I remember working in a factory making lavatory seats out of plastic. I remember working in a factory reconditioning metal barrels. I remember working in a factory canning frozen peas, and so on. When you're young, you are grateful to have any sort of work, and I was often working through the night so that I could teach during the day. Today, I find it really difficult to do an all-nighter, to put in an all-nighter. When I was 20, it was easy. And I know if I were that I was grateful to be able to do these jobs. I'm sure there are many migrants who don't be only too happy to do these jobs. I remember also picking onions and picking flowers, deadheading tulips in advance of the Spalding Tulip Parade. I remember all these little jobs and willingly and gladly doing them. And yet the industries are collapsing because there aren't the people to do those jobs. Do you know, the other day I was in London and a taxi driver told me there are 6,000 less London taxis because of COVID, because people found other jobs to do. No one's doing the knowledge because it's easier to be an Uber driver with an iPhone. And it's a devil of a job. It's a devil of a job trying to get a taxi, trying to get anywhere in London, actually, because of that gap. We need those gaps filling. And if British people won't fill them, then we need migrants to come to our country, make their life here, and take over those jobs. Migrants or young people. And we also need to sort out our universities, because the other we'll deal with that in another video. But I'm interested that the BBC is now looking at this issue in a comprehensive way. It's not just stopping the boats on the English Channel. And once we get that into our head, then maybe we can plan some sort of solution, because Suella Braverman's plan is the plan of a mad person.